Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I'm actually using a new camera. My wife and I have a couples channel now, and we ended up picking up a vlogging camera for that channel. So now I have a nice camera to do some intros on now. Today, look at this big package of stuff I got right here. This is the fish finder that I put up on Instagram the other day. It is the Helix 8 Gen 3 Mega SI Plus and Mega DI Plus. So we're gonna go ahead and open this thing up, and you guys can see that Yak Power kit. I got that last year at Nationals, and I never actually put it together. So we are going to get this thing plugged in onto the Hobie 360, and yeah, so without further ado, let's get into unboxing it and getting it out on the kayak. All right, so the mounting system that I'm going to use for this specific fish finder on the 360 is going to be the Hobie accessory one, which is going to be this one right here. If I can get this thing to focus, it's going to be the 1.5 inch Ram low rance base. Even though this is not a low rance, I went with this specific one because if you go onto Ram's website, Ram recommends a 2.5 inch ball to hold this device right here. That is a little excessive on a kayak. This is only a 1.5 inch ball, and this thing is massive. So just imagine taking a 2.5 inch ball and putting it on there. Now I know that they're saying that because you want bulkier for a bigger fish finder, and this thing is massive, but Ram uses a really hard plastic, which is great, but I went with Hobie because this is a metal plate on here, so I don't think that this plate's going to end up breaking on me. It just feels a lot heavier duty than the normal Ram products that I've been using. So I want to make sure that my device is safe on the kayak. I don't want to lose it, obviously. I mean, this is a lot of money, so protect your investment, right? I'm going to mount it to something a little bit heavier duty, and then it's going to be put on the Hobie H-Rail ball, a 1.5 inch ball. By the way, if you are in the Virginia area, or even if you're not, they can ship it to you. Head over to paddleva.com. That's Appomattox River Company's website. I mean, go hit them up, guys. This is where I got the majority of my stuff from, besides the fish finder, because yeah, I found a really good deal. So I opened it up already because when it got in the house, the box is just massive that it came in. It was a little excessive, but I went to go pick the box up and I heard rattling, so I thought FedEx had messed my package up. So I had to open it up to make sure everything was good to go, and it was. But so I don't need to cut it open. I'm gonna have to buy some charts for it. So here in about a week and a half, I'm gonna end up buying some charts for it. It's got a dual SD card slot, which is gonna be awesome. So can mix and match some maps. When I sold my Hobie, I took the low rance card out of it with all my waypoints. I have no idea where it's at now. It'll be alright. Alright, so what's inside of this? We got some mounting solutions with a lot of bolts. This is what I heard rattling, so don't need that. This plug right here takes all the wires for the device and puts them into one plug, which is just awesome. Because there's a bunch of things on the back of this. Look at all these slots. There's a bunch of slots on this device right here, and it turns it into one plug, so you can just plug it straight in and everything's good to go. Mounting hardware, screw tabs for the mount, power cable, and transducer. This is the business end. All right, let's see how big this thing is compared to the low rance TI one. It's not that big. This transducer is not as big as the low rance TI, but the fun part that I've been looking online at, especially when you're picking out a fish finder for your kayak, you're gonna wanna look at how it's gonna end up mounting to your kayak before you buy it. And so the Hobie Guardian was set up for low rance devices, not Humminbird. And so when we're mounting this Humminbird Mega, you're gonna watch me, I'm gonna have to modify the Guardian a little bit in order to accept this, because this mounts the opposite direction. So the next part, we got some paperwork here. Nobody likes reading this paperwork, but let's open it up real quick. Let's see if it's just the generic user's manual and warranty card, which it probably is. All right, so we got a Humminbird sticker, some important information, returning your transducer, the installation guide, operation summary guide. It's in color. Normally you get those in black and white, so that's going to be nice. all that is done. Now for the unit. This thing is massive. And before I ordered it, I didn't really do all the research on the size of this thing, but this thing is massive. This thing is, it's supposed to be 8 inches, but the screen is 8 inches. The viewable screen, which is right here. When you go online, before I ended up purchasing this, I didn't get to see all the reviews that I wanted to see, and it just happened to be that right, like, this is how it works, right? So immediately after you purchase something, you find a review that would have been very helpful. The review that I found, because I had a 7 Ti last year, so I wasn't expecting anything big. I was like, okay, well, 8 inch is just 1 inch bigger, ½ inch on each side. Not gonna be that big of a deal. 7 inch was like the perfect size. Well, I got this 8 inch in, and that review, I wish I would have seen beforehand, because the Helix 8 and the Helix 10 have the same body. You can see kinda, if I get the light on it, you can see where the edge is. You see how you still have 1 inch on each side? I don't get that. I get it for production reasons. I understand it saves Humminbird a little bit of money on you know, product, because they can just use the same housings. But I don't need this massive thing for an 8 inch screen. This is just too much. We got the mounts for it, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try to get all the mounts rigged up. We're gonna see how they fit together, and then yeah, we should be good to go. I might not be able to use some of the bolts that it came with to secure it to this Hobie mount, but let's see if it matches with this Hobie mount to begin with, because this is not what they recommended on the website, on Ram's website. So let's see if this will work. All right, so we got the ball. Yep, we line up. Everything's good to go. This is gonna work just fine. I am gonna pull the instructions out because I want to make sure I'm using the right bolts, but I think that it's gonna be these, which I cannot use. Not on this. All right, give me 5 seconds. I'll be right back with a bolt kit, and I'll see if I can get something that'll match up with this. All right, so I got my bolt kit. What I'm gonna end up using, these are machine bolts, and these are size number 10, 10 by 5/8. That's what I'm gonna use to attach that mount to the Ram ball mount. And I'm also gonna use the equivalent nuts to go with it. And then I'm also gonna put a washer on there too. I've got some locking washers, because I don't want to lose the device, right? So I don't want my washers or my bolts to come loose, and all I had to do was put a locking washer on there. So we're gonna throw some locking washers on it. All right, so we're gonna take this mount, and I'm debating if I should put bolts down, which I think that's what I'm gonna do. Eventually I'm gonna go with stainless. These are not stainless. All right, now the hardest part of this whole installation, I gotta find my tools. Give me a second. All right, we got the mount secured. It's not going nowhere. She's tight, got locking washers on it. So we should be good to go. I don't intend to lose this thing on the water. We gotta get the fish finder on here, and then we've gotta get some wires spliced together, and then we'll be good to go to head out to the kayak and get it mounted. Something else that I don't like about this so far, guys, this is a really expensive unit, and Humminbird for some reason did not include a cover. The Lowrance 7 Ti was like a $500 fish finder when it was on sale, and it came with the maps and everything, right? And it came with a cover. This is a $1,200 unit, and it doesn't come with a cover. So now I gotta go spend $40 extra to get a cover for this thing so I don't damage my screen. I'm being very gentle with it as I'm laying it on its screen, so don't yell at me in the comments. I don't have a cover, so I'm making do with what I got. All right, it's all mounted up. Feels secure. Let's put it inside this mount, this Ram mount, and see if I feel like it's gonna support it, which I think it will. I don't think it's gonna have a problem. Yeah, that's not gonna have a problem holding on at all. Not at all. Final bit is this 1.5 inch H-rail ball, the Hobie mount. That is really heavy on that arm. I don't know if I like that. I don't think it's gonna break off, but I think I'm gonna tether my fish finder just in case. Probably tether it around this point right here, just in case it falls over. I hope it doesn't. Let's get to the wiring. Let's splice some of this wiring together for the Yak Power kit to the power cable of the fish finder, and then we will be good to go. All right, so what I'm going to use to connect the power cable to the Yak Power kit are these soldering butt connectors. And I don't know if you guys have seen these, but I'm gonna flip them around this way. So basically what it is it has a, let's see if I can get it to focus on this. So what it has is a little tiny strip of solder inside of it, and you take the wires, you push them into each other, and then slide the thing back on top of it, slide the butt connector back on top, and then you just take a lighter, a heat gun. I'm probably going to end up grabbing my heat gun and using it instead of a lighter because I don't want to burn them. And it melts that solder inside of there, and it melts a good connection. Now, before anybody says anything about, well, I watch those online, they're not strong. They're strong. I've tested them myself. The tests that you see online, they're not practical tests. The tests that you see online are people putting a bunch of force on it, which is not going to happen in your kayak. So these are just safe to use, and they're waterproof connections because they have heat shrink all the way around them. So I'm going to use these, and we're going to get these connectors put together, and then we can take this thing outside and get it put on the kayak. The piece that I'm going to be using to connect it to is this Yak Power power plug. It's an SEE connector with a 4-inch pigtail. So it's got some heat shrink on it, and it comes with butt connectors. It comes with everything that you need, but I don't want to use those. I want to use what I've got, and I like them better. So Yak Power has already soldered the ends of these wires. They put a little bit of solder on there. I'm back with the heat gun. Let's see if we can get this thing going without tripping a breaker and going dark here. I might end up tripping a breaker. So, all right. Got the power cable here. Flatten it out. Don't forget the heat strip. Make sure that you put your heat strip on first. That way you're not missing it. I'm actually going to use one heat strip for 2 of these. I don't know if that's going to work, but we will see. What you're supposed to do with these is you're supposed to smash the wires together, but since there's solder on the Yak Power one already, I can't do that. So I'm going to, I honestly don't know how I'm going to pull this off. Alright, we got one down, and time for the next one. So the solder melts inside of there, and it's got heat shrink all the way around it. So it's melted, it's holding it together. We're gonna test the connection before we take it out to make sure everything's good to go. That way I'm not playing around with it when we get it out there. But let's get the second one, the negative wire, all squared away. All right, it has melted. Now let's hold them in place while this solder dries. I'm gonna pull out the battery before I put the final heat shrink on it, and we're gonna make sure that this works. So I'm gonna pull my big battery out real quick. I'll plug it in. Oh, duh. You got to put power to the unit. All right, so we have power. That's good. I'll show you guys. We are rolling. We've got power on the unit. So those connections work. Now I'm going to put the heat shrink over top of those to keep both of them together. They are still separated by the solder points that I put on there. So they are good to go. We are good. We can go ahead and take this thing out to the boat and get it on the kayak. So let's get at it.